Thank you, everybody, for watching the video. And I just got done watching the Roku original movie Weird, based off of Weird Al Yankovic. Now, when I first saw the trailer and I heard about the film, I thought it was going to be an actual biopic on Weird Al Yankovic, how he came up with creating songs out of other people's songs, his background. So going into it, it'd be like, okay, that'd be something different. You know, like Weird Al in the 80s and the 90s was everywhere because he was remaking other people's songs and people just started loving him. And I loved him. His music videos back in the day are iconic. So when I saw that this movie was coming out, and I'm like, okay, it'd be something different. It'd be something in a biopic about Weird Al Yankovic. So going right into it, I was wrong. I was wrong on so many levels because it's a parody of a biopic. So if you know that going in right away, then you'll be like, oh, okay. But I thought it was going to be an actual biopic, but it's a parody of a biopic. And Weird Al Yankovic is in the movie. so I was like, okay, where are they going with this? And then 5 minutes in the movie, you kind of understand. So go start in the movie. It shows little Weird Al, and his mother's kind of a pushover, but she's supportive of Al. And then his father, who's a stepfather, but his real father dies when he's very young, so he doesn't really know his real father. So the only person that he knows as father is his stepfather, and his stepfather is always really strict on him, and any dreams or aspirations that Al had as a kid, that his father is basically squashing them and saying, no, you're going to work in a factory. I work in a factory. It's fine. People die in the factory, but you're working in the factory. So he starts crying. He doesn't want to work in a factory. He doesn't want to die. So I'm just like, oh, that's pretty funny. Like, I don't want to work in the factory. I don't want to die, Dad. So there's a knock at the door, and Al opens the door, and it's a guy that he's a door-to-door accordion salesperson, which I've never heard of in my life. So Weird Al pulls this accordion out of this guy's box, and he starts messing with it. His mom and dad come in and blow a gasket, and as his dad's walking out trying to cool off, his mom's like, well, the only thing we can do is buy the accordion. And he's like, buy it? I thought you guys were against it. He's like, well, we hurt this guy real bad. And the only good thing that for us to do is buy the accordion. So they buy the accordion, and he says, well, if you can't play it in the house, you got to play it like anywhere else, but you can't play it in the house where your father is. So it shows Weird Al sneaking off to play his accordion. And then he's in school, and his friends are like, come on, man, we got an accordion, so you got to play it. He's like, no, I don't want to play it. He's like, everybody laugh at me. I don't want to play the accordion. So all of his friends are sort of making fun of him to play the accordion. And he just kind of rocks it. And then everybody just kind of stops and looks at him. And it's just... the school that he went to was really supportive of a person that plays an accordion. The schools I went to, I mean, if you looked at somebody wrong, they're giving you a hard time. This dude plays an accordion, and he gets a standing ovation. So it was pretty funny. So his buddies are like, bro, you gotta go to this party with us. So it's like they go to this party, and it's a polka party, and everybody like his age is all dancing and stuff to polka. Like, what is going on? Like, what kind of crazy universe is this? So I think everything that he got made fun of as a kid, he completely switched it around to make it look like it was normal. So if you were normal, that you were weird. And I think that's how they proceeded writing the movie, where everything that he perceived as being weird is normal. Because these people are celebrating like him playing the accordion and all the and he's really popular because the accordion players love him, and the whole school thinks he's like the greatest person ever. And like if somebody rolled up when I was a little kid, if somebody rolled up to me and was like, I got an accordion here, I'm not thinking that they're the best, the most popular person at the school. If you roll up with an accordion, I'm just saying. So he goes back to the house. His father catches him messing with the accordion. He smashes the accordion, and then Weird Al's basically starts crying, and he runs out of the door. And then the next scene, Al is older. He's sort of like he's in college, and he's with the same buddies that he was hanging out with when he was younger. He all went to the same college with him, and he comes up with an idea. Like he auditions for like 4 or 5 different like rock bands and stuff, and they basically just like laugh at him like, you're joking, right? Like they don't take him serious about being part of their band. So so he goes home and he's like, yo, can you make us some sandwiches? And Al goes over there and he starts making and My Sharona comes on the radio, and he's like, My Bologna. And that's like the first song that he comes up with is My Bologna. So his friends are like, well, you gotta record that. So they go in like this bathroom and they're recording My Bologna, and then he sends it to a bunch of places. He goes to like a recording studio to talk to some producers about continuing his music and getting signed to a label, and they basically laugh at him. And one of them is Weird Al Yankovic. He's all dressed in like a regular like normal person's like attire and his hair and stuff. So at first I was like, is that Weird Al? And then as soon as he started talking, I'm like, yep, that's Weird Al. So the one guy's like, well, I don't know if it's necessarily the type of music that we want to push. And then the other guy's like, you know what? It sucks. And I think that you need to go shoot yourself in the head, and because it sucks so bad that nobody wants to see you even alive how bad it sucks. And Weird Al's just looking at him like, what? So the one guy's sort of trying to be like, well, I don't know if it's what we're looking for. And the other guy's just like, just kill yourself and shoot yourself in the head. Like, it's fine. So he goes to this, I want to say it's like an open mic night, and he goes up and he starts singing about ice cream, and all of a sudden his buddies just walk on behind him. He's like, oh, Al's going to need our support. They just walk and just start playing guitars and the drums. And he turns around and is like, I didn't know you guys could play the guitar. He's like, I've been having you guys help me a long time ago. He's like, I don't know, man. We just kind of started playing. Well, what it was is they literally never played before. And they're like, well, Al needs us. And they just pick up guitars and start playing. It's pretty funny. like they learn instruments in 2 seconds. Like, so the whole movie is like this, where it's goofy, and if you're gonna take it serious, it's one of those ones where it's like you might as well not even watch it, because the whole thing is just so out there, and it's very Weird Al. So it's like it's very Weird Al. So if you're a fan of Weird Al and his humor, this movie is definitely it's got Weird Al's fingerprints all over it. So he goes and he meets Dr. Demento, and Dr. Demento's like, man, I got a party happening at the house. Come by the house. Well, I'll introduce you to people, because I think you really got a future, kid. So he goes to the pool party, and like all of the like oddity acts of the 80s and 90s are all there. Like who was there? Pee Wee Herman was there. and just a bunch of people. Gallagher, the comedian, was there, and then a guitarist from Queens was there, and like, yo, man, I think you're great. And then the Wolfman Jack, who's a DJ, he comes up and says, well, if you're so great, you can make a song up like right now on the spot. You don't have to write nothing. You can just do it right now. So Weird Al is like, I can't do it. And then he pauses for a second, and then he starts singing, and he pulls out his instrument. He starts singing, and Wolfman Jack's like, that was beautiful, man. He's like, and the guitarist from Queen is like, man, we're going to this concert a couple weeks, for Live Aid. I love to have you there. And basically Al looks at him and is like, and that's a hard pass. And everybody starts laughing and having a good time. It was pretty funny. As the pool party was just the weirdest oddity, like acts of the 80s and 90s. It's just some random people. Like Tiny Tim was there, and like it was almost like, okay, we're gonna have a party of all the weird freaks of the 80s and 90s and goofballs. And I don't think any of this stuff actually happened, honestly. I think he was a good accordion player, and his parents didn't want him to go into music. I think that is actually correct, but anything else I don't think is actually correct. So he catches fire, and he starts making hit after hit after hit, and he goes on Oprah, and then all of a sudden they're like flashing like sexiest man alive. You're Weird Al Yankovic. And so Madonna's asking him questions, and he's all like sad because he thinks about the relationship with his parents and how good it is. So Oprah's just like, are you okay, Al? And then all of a sudden he's like, no, I'm not. So then he meets, he's hanging out at the house. He's already had a few hit songs. There's rumors that Madonna wants him to do a parody of one of her songs. So she finally comes to his house, and she knocks on the door, and he's like, who are you? And she's like, I'm Madonna. And it's like, well, I got a hit song right now called Like a Virgin, and I want you to do a parody of it. And at first he's like, no, I want an original song. I want to only make original songs. So he makes Eat It, and then Michael Jackson's Eat It comes out like a couple days later, and he's like, Michael Jackson completely stole from me. I only make original stuff, and he completely stole my song. It was pretty funny. It was the exact same song. So he's like, I wanted to be an original artist. I don't want to do parodies anymore. And that's pretty much the only reason why people like tolerate him, is because he makes these funny parodies. Like they don't care about his original stuff. So he starts dating Madonna, and they start hanging out. He starts drinking a lot. He accidentally takes LSD. So he starts tripping real bad, and he's coming up with these wacky stuff. I think he gets like one or two songs out of his tripping, and he understands that he might have to change, but he doesn't have to change now, and like all this other stuff is going through his brain. And him and Madonna are hanging out backstage before like a concert, and his band comes up and is like, what, Al, we gotta talk, man. You're not acting yourself. You changed, man. And he basically, the way he was talking to him, it was like they were fired. But then like the very few scenes after that, they're back. So it was sort of like he fired him, but not really. Because it was almost like, okay, so it's over. And they turn around, and then like the few scenes later, they're back. So it's almost like I fire you, psych, I didn't fire you. So it was pretty funny where it was just like they just kind of just kept inserting him after he fired him. Because usually in those type of movies, it's like, I had to fire somebody, and they were my friend, and they really screwed up bad. He literally just fired them, and then they showed up like 3 or 4 scenes later. So then Dr. Demento comes up and says, hey, can I talk to you? And he's like, yeah, whatever you can say in front of Madonna. And he's like, well, okay. He's like, well, I think Madonna is a piece of garbage, and she's not good for you, and she's like a bad influence. And Madonna's just sitting right there, like. So he's like, well, you told me to, I wanted to talk to you by yourself, and he's like, oh no, that's fine. He's like, well, I think she's a bitch, and all this other stuff. So then he takes Madonna's side. So when he does the concert, he's not thinking straight. He's still drinking. He's acting crazy. They go into a restaurant, and he's sort of like not, like his mind's not there. Like Madonna's being Madonna, and she's just like, looking around like, am I looking at me? And Weird Al's sort of like, you could tell like he's nothing's, he's not right mentally. And all of a sudden, like two people come out of the back and they grab like a pillow, it looks like a pillowcase or cover something, and they put it over Madonna's head, and then they take her and kidnap her. It was like, okay, that was a strange turn. So earlier in the movie, they had a list of all these people that wanted Weird Al to be at their events and parties and everything. And one of the people that wanted him to be at one of his parties was his 40th birthday party, and that was Pablo Escobar, the drug runner. So he gets like notification that Pablo Escobar is the one that kidnapped Madonna. So he goes to Pablo Escobar's house to talk to him, to find out what's going on. And he comes in there with a gun and is like, he's like, man, I invited, Pablo is like, I invited you to my party, and you kept turning us down. So the only way that I could get you to come here is to kidnap Madonna. And Madonna's like all like in a chair, all tied up with her with her face covered up and stuff. So then he gets mad and he starts shooting everybody. He's like in some of his videos, he always has like this big gun, like bah, 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 and he's shooting everything. And the only one that's left is Pablo Escobar. So then he has a dialogue with Pablo Escobar, and he's like, man, I just wanted you to be at my party, man. And Pablo takes his gun and shoots him, and you see Weird Al fall to the ground. All of a sudden, he kind of pops back up, and he goes like this and grabs the chains that are around his neck. He's like, "These are my platinum albums," and he grabs one of the albums and he throws it at Pablo Escobar, and it knocks him into the neck, and kills him, and he like bleeds to death. So then he unties Madonna because Pablo Escobar's dead, and she's like, well, now that Pablo Escobar is dead, we can take over the cartel. And Weird Al's like, what? I came here to save you. He's like, no, he's dead. They need somebody to take over the cartel. Take over the cartel with me. And Weird Al's like, no, I don't want to be in a cartel. So he's like, I don't want to be a cartel. This, what we are, we're through. I don't want to be part of a cartel. So as he's walking away, she pulls a gun out and starts shooting at him, and she doesn't come even close to him. Like, she shoots about 10 times, and then like they're going like everywhere and not anywhere near Weird Al. So it was pretty funny. So then a little bit later in the movie, he's got his big comeback because he goes home and sort of, there was some soul searching. He talks to his parents. He finds out why his stepdad's been so hard on him, why his mom is the way that she is, and they sort of like, make amends. So he's got his family back, so he's happy. His dad used to be an old time accordion player and tried to make it, and he didn't make it. So he, by God, his son's not going to make it. So he gives him a stack of papers like this, and he's like, well, these are the reasons why I was so hard on you. And he's and the stack of papers like this high, and he's like, "Do you have like cliff notes or something?" He's like, "Well, I've got some pictures." So he drew pictures of like why he was so hard on Al. So then he's shown him his accordion playing, and he's like, "Oh, I wrote a couple songs, and they never went anywhere, and my dreams were crushed, and they kept on like hinting like, well, you notice your mom's gained some weight, she's gotten to be fat, right?" And he's like, "Well, you look beautiful. I mean, she's really, really fat." And then he shows him like these scratch piece of paper that have Gangster's Paradise on it, but it's Amish Paradise. And he's like, "Well, it didn't go anywhere for me, but I don't know if you could do anything with it, son." So then it shows the next scene is him performing a concert and doing Amish Paradise. it's pretty funny. And then he does the Amish Paradise, and everybody's going clapping and crazy and everything else. And then all of a sudden they look in the front row, and they kind of pan over, and Coolio's sitting in the front row just like it didn't look like Coolio. It was somebody that had the weird hair sitting in the front row just like so that's where he's saying basically he got the inspiration for Amish Paradise. His dad wrote it, and then fat is because his mom was fat and she gained weight. So he's got his mojo back. He's starting to write more songs, and he's starting to get his head on his shoulder, and kind of anybody that he kind of shit on, he made amends with. And then he goes to an award show, and they're like, well, the award goes to the accordion player that plays the most the weirdest songs, who remakes all these other songs to make it look like it's a real song, award. And then they show him, and they show Prince. Prince is like, so the only two people that were part of this accordion award ceremony was Prince and Weird Al. So then, like in the front row, you see a guy that has like a huge gun sitting in the front row, and he goes as like, let me know when you're ready. And then you hear Madonna's voice go, "Okay, hold on until I tell you ready." And then all of a sudden, like, he says a few things in front of the crowd, and the guy just shoots him. And then, like, the end of it says, "A Weird Al has been assassinated. He died in 1985. And then some of the credits roll, and then they show Madonna, and she goes to his grave, and she's looking at his grave, and she kneels down, and then all of a sudden you see a hand come up, and it grabs her, and that's how it ends. Oh, I thought it was pretty funny. Like, I love the movies like Airplane, Police Squad, and then and those goofy movies where everything is a parody, everything is funny. I thought it was pretty darn funny. Like, if you go into it taking it serious, then it's definitely not the movie for you. It's a parody of a biopic, which I thought it was, going in, I didn't know. I thought it was going to be an actual biopic, and it's a parody of a biopic. And only Weird Al would do something like that, where it's like, I don't need a biopic, but let's make a parody of a biopic. So I thought it was pretty entertaining. I thought it was pretty funny. The movie's about 2 hours, and it didn't seem like it, because they keep you going the whole time. And I really had a good time with it. I want to say out of 10, I would probably give it an 8 out of 10. The writing wasn't complicated because it was a parody and it was goofy all across the board. But some of the stuff that they come up with was pretty funny, and it was pretty witty. So it's like, I love jokes like that where it's kind of witty, and it's like it would take you a couple times to watch it to catch up on maybe some of the jokes that you maybe missed the first time. But I really had a lot of fun with it. It was pretty funny. I could definitely see myself watching it again at some point. I really had a good time with it. So thank you so much for watching the video, and definitely check out Weird. I thought it was pretty funny. Is it going to win an Academy Award? No, it's not. But for being a parody of a biopic, it's pretty funny. So thank you so much for watching, like, and subscribe, and we'll talk to you on the next one.